Lituation continues right here on SABC3's Trending Essay. We're also online on trendingessay.tv. We see you out here on these social media scripts, so let's have a look at some of your tweets. Sugar and Spice Bongi S says, oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
You guys forgot Brooke had a baby with his son-in-law, Deacon.
What a wow. What a wow.
That's it. Was it
So hang on,
deliberately
so
omitted?
she has a baby with the son-in-law.
Her daughter's child.
Huh? Wow.
No, her
daughter's husband's
yeah.
child.
No.
Okay, listen.
Guys.
Draw a diagram for us to add to this diagram that I add and carry around with me. Another tweet coming through from Ayanda Jack ZA, listing us all and says, Brooke is now married to Bill. This is after she called off her engagement with Ridge. Basically, Usisi is still at it.
Flourish Mogel. Minister of Home Affairs.
Wow. Yo. Okay, listen, we're going to move on now. Thank you very much.
No, she's the Minister of Fisheries and Forestry.
That's very good.
Thank
Let's move
you.
on now. Worth a follow.
Our Worth the Follow guest tonight is a poet, a writer, a self-published author, and is currently completing a master's in social anthropology at Wits University. She hosts storytelling sessions for children in schools and community libraries. I used to do that when I was a nipper. And also hosts open mic sessions to help develop young aspiring poets in Johannesburg. She's written this beautiful book called Bumi's Magic Beads, a story of a young black girl named Bumi and her friends who discover the magic in their hair. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lebohang Masango.
Hello, darling. Oh, speed.
Welcome.
Way over there. It's so good to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to finally be here with you all.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mdasekai. The great book, Mpumi's Magic Beads, is absolutely fantastic. It's been well received, but then apparently there was a misinterpretation of why you wrote the book.
Yeah, so while this book definitely is for little black girls, it also is not only for little black girls. So because I want our children's literature to also become universal, and because white authors aren't asked, hey, did you write this book for little white girls? You know, because there's none of that. I want our literature to become universal. So as much as it's important to affirm who we write the book for, it's also important for us to realize that we're trying to engage in a universal project of imagination and wonder and awe for children.
Nice one. I like that response because I was very worried because as black people, we do need to be given that much more focus, which we weren't given in the past. Now let's talk about what else you do. You also you host reading sessions with the little kiddies. Now what's that all about and how have they received it?
It's so exciting. So it's been received really well, and I've had feedback from parents who tell me that, you know, my child used to be bullied for her hair, and ever since she's been reading your book, she's really gained confidence in wearing her afro out, or wearing her plaits, or wearing her braids. So that small little affirmation for the girls really makes such a big difference, and I'm glad that all of them are really learning to love themselves through engaging with the book.
Well done, Madam Desakai. And then tell us about the fact that you're a poet. On Twitter, you posted this recently. What's it about, Masijong? Actually, South Africans, do you know that we have a poet laureate position in our country? Now, Mdasekai, what is a poet laureate, Mdasekai? And is it really important with all the petrol hikes?
Well, yes, a poet laureate is basically a poet that is appointed by the highest office, so appointed by the presidency or appointed by the arts ministry, and this is the person who basically documents South Africa's story. It is important because we need to write our own history, and we need to respond to the things that happen in our country. So right now we actually have a vacancy. So I'm really hoping that the government will fill it with a woman, because we've had Professor Mazisi Kunene, we've had Professor Kiora Petsegositsele, so I'm hoping that the next poet laureate would be a woman.
Wow.
What a phenomenal. Yeah, thanks for informing us. Generally, the state of poetry, I mean, you host Word and Sound Poetry League. Where do you think poetry is in the South African landscape?
I think poetry is gaining more fans by the years, you know. When I started 7 years ago, it was like the platforms weren't that many, but now you have poets coming together, creating platforms, creating spaces of development and mentorship for young poets, because as much as we all love hip-hop, and hip-hop is a wonderful thing, there are those who, in that tradition, write really well, and it's okay to develop them as poets because they start to take literature seriously, and they start to even perhaps take academia seriously. So poetry is a wonderful gateway into thinking more broadly about the world, because not everyone has to become a rapper, you know.
True.
Right. Hey,
Now,
don't look at me.
You're one of 25 women chosen from around the world by the former First Lady in the fellowship, rather in the country. My mind around that is, what makes feminist leadership a thing, and what are you taking from that fellowship?
Okay, so yeah, the Zanele Mbeki Fellowship is incredible because I believe it's one of the few feminists that are actually, one of the few fellowships that are named after a woman. Because, you know, you've got the Mandela Rhodes, you've got the Obama. So this one is the Zanele Mbeki, and it's specifically about cultivating African leadership among young people. And we know that we do have an African feminist tradition, but we don't have any living icons. So the wonderful thing that this fellowship is aiming to do is to connect us with those living icons from all over the continent who are practicing leadership, African feminist leadership, and basically cultivating us so that we can be able to continue the tradition further.
So dope.
Okay, you did touch on hip-hop, and it is, you know, part of the culture, right? And you have, you know, Women's Month is in full swing, and you have compiled some interesting hip-hop texts that highlight hip-hop feminism, and I'd be so delighted if you'd sort of share some of your insights that you discovered.
Okay, so with this list, it was fantastic because I'm really into academia. I love learning about how we are theorizing, even the ordinary, even the everyday, like hip-hop. And so you have scholars who have written different things. So there's a scholar named Professor Ronaldo Walcott. What I love is that he's written about queering hip-hop. I find that really interesting because people like to believe that, no, you know, hip-hop is a playground of straight black men. But it's like, no, hip-hop is actually everybody's playground. It's a place of expression for everybody. Queer people have always existed in hip-hop, and Professor Walcott actually makes the proposition that hip-hop has always been queer. It's been a space that is animated by homosociality, which is really interesting because all of that aggressive male bravado, like there's a homosociality in that kind of bravado as well. So I'm really interested in that. That's been fantastic to learn.
That's phenomenal because it's anarchy, but it's structured in its own sort of way, right?
Yes, and it's not just about grr, I'm a man. You know, in those displays there is a homosocial fellowship happening that black men won't necessarily always want to admit. But yeah, if they do,
these are guys that spend hours dressing up in clothes and taking photos of themselves. You know, I'm just saying. Listen, it's time for you to read some stories to us. And we are very excited. It is story time. Do you mind taking the seat of, you know, that beautiful, the storyteller seat, and tell us some stories. We're very excited. Thank you.
So this is Bumi's Magic Beads, available everywhere now.
Yes, and please do the Googles, and all of the online spaces will also pop up.
Look how comfortable you are in this storytelling position. This is a vibe.
Miss Lecturer.
All right.
Mpumi 9 reserve for purchase at Taboo from account 123 using card. Hey. Why do they put the smiley face in that thing though? Like,
They want you to be okay.
I think this one wins the cake. And the next one, X, I'm still in love with you. Me. Chest burn. All right, I also joined the fun and I captioned a couple of. Okay, I made 2 captions. This is option 1. Tell me what you think. Which do you prefer? Option 1. When you find out someone's actually happy with your ex. Or when you see that your ex has moved on with that person that they said was their cousin.
Nah.
I am not always a nice person. And that's it for today's LOL Tuesday.
I love it.
Bang, bang.
All right, so we're going to take a very quick break. This is Trending SA on SABC3. You know the hashtag. Tsa on 3, our main guests, DJ Slick and Speedster next.
Did we just go in front of your face?